Chicago Bears Now is presented by Magic Spoon, and you can get $5 off your first order at magicspoon.com/bears. Guys, they have tons of yummy flavors, whether it's cocoa, whether it's peanut butter, several others as well, and it's absolutely delicious. Best part, 0 grams of sugar. So get that cereal that you had as a kid, but that's actually healthy for you with Magic Spoon. It's magicspoon.com/bears. We'll have a link in the comments and in the description. All right, let's get into some Bears rumors on today's show. Then we'll have a little bit of news toward the end of the show. How about a Nick Foles trade? The trade rumors are back. 2 smoking Jays on the likelihood of it happening. It's definitely possible, but it's far from a given at this point in time. Albert Breer had this one saying that the Bears will continue to listen to Foles trade offers, and as we've talked about for months now, trading him obviously would save Chicago $4 million in cap space, which would be valuable since he is the third-string quarterback. Now, this is the part I don't quite understand. Breer also believes that Chicago will allow Foles to approve or veto any trade proposal that the Bears get for him. So basically, if Nick Foles, if the Bears get a trade offer to a certain team that Foles doesn't want to go to, and he tells Chicago, I don't want to go to that team, they won't trade him. Why would you give Nick Foles that control and that power? What allegiance do you have to Nick Foles? Why the blind loyalty? He's been with this team for 1 year, and he was not what you bargained for. Like, he was so bad that you went back to Mitch Trubisky last year down the stretch. Like, why would you just say, yeah, Nick, we just like you that much that if we get a trade offer for you, even though it would save us money, we'll let you veto that trade if you so choose. That makes no sense whatsoever. I'm not bagging Nick Foles. I'm bagging the Bears on this one, if this is actually the case, because I just do not understand that whatsoever, because you thought so highly of Nick Foles that you gave Andy Dalton $10 million this offseason, because you thought he'd be a much better option. So this doesn't make any sense to me, considering he's your third-string quarterback, considering that you traded a fourth for him and took on a lot of his salary from Jacksonville, even though you restructured to come and be your starter potentially, gets beat out in the preseason last year, and then gets benched after you go to him in the middle of the season a year ago. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not saying he's not valuable at all. I think he's a good culture guy. He's always been a good teammate going back to whatever team he's been on throughout his career. But to just blindly say, yeah, Nick, you know, if I don't know, insert team, if the Cowboys come calling with the trade offer and you don't want to go to Dallas, no problem. We'll just keep you and your $6.7 million in cap money. Makes no sense whatsoever. So what do you guys think? Will the Bears trade Nick Foles? Type T for trade, K for keep. 2 smoking Jays, I think it's a possibility, but the fact that you're, if you do get an offer and you're giving Nick Foles the final say, that doesn't help your cause on trying to save $4 million. So we'll see. T for trade, K for keep. Go ahead and get your votes in on this one. Now, I want you guys to subscribe to us here at Chicago Bears Now, because we do all kinds of videos here on the channel. Go check out my final 53-man roster projection. After you subscribe, go to the videos tab. You can find that one. We do live shows as well every Tuesday. We're not going to go live tomorrow, I don't think, because lots of 53-man rosters are coming out. So here at Chat Sports, we're trying to cover off a lot of teams, but trust me, we will cover that here on our Bears channel once the Bears 53-man roster is set. We cover the latest news and rumors as well. Subscribe. Don't miss any of our coverage. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. We'll keep you guys up to the date with everything going on in Chicago. All right, let's get to our next story here. Justin Fields, is he going to start once he is ready? 2 smoking Jays, I don't know, because you could argue he's ready right now, yet he's not going to be the Week 1 starter. This one comes from Matt Nagy, but really via Peter King, because King listed Nagy as one of his top 10 most impressive people he saw during the preseason, which is certainly interesting because I think a lot of people have not been impressed with how Matt Nagy has handled things. Nagy told him that Fields will play, quote, once he's ready. Of course, Andy Dalton is slated to be the Week 1 starting quarterback at this point in time, and I would be shocked if Dalton did not start in Week 1, barring an injury, of course, between that point and then. So here's what Nagy had to say, and yeah, let's go ahead and go to this quote here. We can fix it later. He said, we want this to be something that lasts 15 years, not 2 years. This is Nagy on Justin Fields. So basically what he's saying is, don't want to rush it. don't want to put him in there if we don't think he's ready. But what if he is ready? And what if Dalton just isn't that good? Both of those could end up being the case. I don't believe Dalton's going to last long. I think he'll start week 1 because that's what they've said. They've said that all along. But the moment he struggles, the moment he really faces major adversity, if he doesn't respond to that, I think you have to go to Justin Fields because he's looked good, he's been impressive, and this isn't 10 years ago. Rookie quarterbacks come in more ready than ever before, especially with more open-minded NFL coaches running some of those college schemes that these kids run in college. What do you guys think? Over, under 3.5 starts for Andy Dalton. That's what I've set it at. Type O for over, type U for under. How many starts will Andy Dalton make for this Bears team this year? Love to say under. I'm going to type my U for under because I want to see Justin Fields play, but we'll have to wait and see. Something you don't have to wait for is Magic Spoon cereal because it is healthy, it is delicious, and it has got me back in the cereal game because, hey, you can actually eat this stuff and not gain weight and get a lot of that bad sugar in you because there's 0 grams of sugar. You can get $5 off at magicspoon.com/bears. It's high in protein, it's low in carbs, and it actually tastes really, really good. I know a lot of you guys watching now are probably like, if it's that healthy, it probably tastes like garbage. It's not really true. It's actually better than some of the mainstream cereals that you guys are probably used to, and there's tons of different flavors. I showed you guys earlier. I love the cocoa. I'm a big fan of the peanut butter flavor as well. 13 to 14 grams of protein per serving. Cinnamon is another flavor. Frosted. They're always trotting out some limited time flavors as well. I think maple waffle and cookies and cream are a couple that they've used recently. Go check them out. Get $5 off with our link, magicspoon.com/bears. There's also a link in the comments and in the description. All right, let's take a look at Dalton versus Fields in the preseason because there's obviously a lot of frustration between the two guys, or between what Matt Nagy is doing because Fields obviously outperformed him. The numbers across the board were more impressive for Fields. 3 total touchdowns, 1 rushing, 2 passing, has almost 100 rushing yards. Dalton obviously played less, but 1 touchdown, 1 pick. QB rating, Fields almost 8 points higher. He's looked like the better player. Now, a lot of that going up against weaker competition at times. You have to factor those things in. But then you've got Jeff Saturday at ESPN on Get Up this morning having to say this, quote, "If I'm in the Chicago Bears locker room, I am pissed. Your job as a coach, is to put the best 11 on the field. You know who the best 11 are? Justin Fields is one of them." So, listen, there's a lot of fire under Nagy right now because a lot of people believe Justin Fields should start. I think he's got a pretty good argument to start as well. But at the end of the day, if Dalton struggles early, I just don't think he's going to be there very long either way. Do you trust Matt Nagy? Simple question. Y for yes, N for no. Do you trust the head man in Chicago? Get your votes in. Y for yes, N for no. Let's hear what you guys think. Next story here. Larry Borom, could he start at right tackle? For now, just one smoking J. He's not going to start week 1 early on in the season here, but Bears Twitter was going off on this story because Germain Ifedi looked like garbage, if we're being honest, in the final preseason game. Now, that was his first action. He had been dealing with an injury during most of training camp. So, hopefully over the next couple of weeks he continues to condition and gets back into game form. But if Ifedi doesn't play better, because let's be honest, he looks pretty lost against the Titans, and Borom continues to impress, I think there's a decent argument that he could play right tackle at some point this year. I would give him some reps at right tackle with the ones. Now, Ifedi should be the week 1 starter. You should roll with the vet for now until proven otherwise. But I do believe that Borom is a viable option at some point this season. And, hey, if you're the Bears, you got to mix and match on your offensive line because it's been ugly early on in the preseason. I will say I was fairly pleased with how Jason Peters moved around in his preseason game against Tennessee, so that's a positive sign. I think the interior is going to be at least serviceable, so that's good. But hopefully this group plays more cohesive and improves as a unit moving forward. And maybe, just maybe, Larry Borom is a part of that starting unit sooner rather than later. Hopefully also Tevin Jenkins returns to this team at some point this season. Pick a right tackle, Germain Ifedi, Larry Borom. Who would you rather see out there? Type GI for Ifedi, type LB for Larry Borom. Cast your votes. Curious to see what you guys think on this one. And then one more piece of news before we sign off. The roster cuts have begun. The Bears have waived Chris Lacy. They've got to get down to their 53-man roster by 4 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday at 3 o'clock Central Time. So Lacy hits the waiver wire. We'll see if he ends up being a candidate to return to the practice squad. And this is why you subscribe, because tomorrow, once the 53-man roster is revealed, we'll make a video. We'll have it up for you guys, and you guys can get my reaction to the 53-man roster. Subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you get notified when we publish that video, because you're going to want to see it very, very quickly. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you very soon.